ever walked into a temple, and like felt just surrounded. Like everywhere you look, it's the same deity just staring back at you.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It can be kind of intense.
Intense in a good way, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we're diving into today, the world of Mazu, the Chinese sea goddess. It's not just about the sheer number of statues, though.
Right. It's how it's all, well, organized is what gets really interesting. They're like branches on a family tree or
The
something.
family tree of deities. That's a new one.
It's a whole system. Each of those statues, each temple even,
Huh.
it all connects back to that original source.
We're actually looking at a paper by Ia. Don't worry about the pronunciation for now. But they dig into all this. And get this, they actually compare a whole Mazu temple to a traditional Chinese home.
Yeah. It's such a good analogy
Mm.
because you have the main incense burner, right? That's like the heart of the home, the hearth, where all the energy's focused.
Where everyone gathers, seeks blessings, just like a family. Okay, but hold on, because it gets even wilder. New Mazu temples. They're established using ashes from the original temple's incense burner.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
they've literally transferred the energy like
It's like a family heirloom or something, passed down through generations.
it's about lineage, that connection
Yeah.
to the source. Because even though Mazu is like multiplied through all these temples and statues,
Right.
it all goes back to that one place.
It's like mind-blowing. It's not just like a symbolic connection. There's an actual piece of the original right there. And this whole family structure, it's everywhere, right? Like
Okay.
within a single temple, you could have, what, dozens of Mazu statues?
Oh, yeah. Dozens, hundreds even. The paper mentions the Dajia Zhen Lan Temple, over 100. And they all have these different roles to play. It's not just a bunch of copies.
So they're like specialized or something?
Exactly. Like the main Paul statue. Big role in rituals, pilgrimages. It's almost like different family members with specific jobs.
Oh, I see. Each one's got their own thing going on. But then there's also that thing where people take smaller Mazu statues home. Is that like having a mini temple in your living room?
You could say that. It's about bringing those blessings, that protection, into your everyday life. How some people, they connect more when they've got something physical, like a rosary or
Yep, right.
it's like that, but bigger.
Yeah.
It becomes really personal, like having a direct line to the goddess herself.
A direct line to the goddess, huh? I like that. It's that divine presence idea we were talking about, right? Like her energy can be everywhere at once. But here's where I got kind of confused. The paper mentions that, yeah, they share that main incense burner in the temple, but they've also got individual ones. What's with that?
Oh, that's a good catch. It's all about like the balance between the group and the individual. So the shared one, that's the unified spirit of Mazu. Everyone together.
The family dinner, everyone around the table.
Exactly. And then you've got the individual burners for when you need that one-on-one, more personal stuff.
Right, like those quiet chats with grandma after everyone's gone home. Yeah, I get it.
Right. Important stuff. And, it's not just those individual statues, the temples themselves. They have that whole family thing going on, too.
Right, we were saying earlier how temples made with the ashes from that parent temple are like their daughters, creating this whole lineage.
Generations of temples.
Mhm.
It's really something.
A family tree, but instead of names, it's these amazing buildings full of life. And they don't just share the ashes, right? There's these pilgrimages, too. I mean, talk about a family reunion.
Oh, yeah. The paper talks about these huge processions, people traveling for, like, weeks just to bring offerings back to that mother temple.
Wow.
It's that shared history,
Huh.
keeping those connections strong.
Okay, now I've got chills. You can just feel that devotion. But, it's like any family, right? It can't all be sunshine and roses. The paper kind of hinted that there's, how do we put this? Some sibling rivalry going on between these temples.
Oh, absolutely. The paper's point is, just like families use their history, their lineage, to get ahead sometimes, temples do the same thing.
Using Mazu to gain influence.
Right. Some temples claim their Mazu is older or more powerful. It's about social power.
Wow. So it's more than just faith. It's how those beliefs play out in the real world, like in politics and stuff.
It's all connected. And the paper uses this really interesting example, the anti-nuclear Mazu movement in Taiwan. It shows how these old beliefs are still super relevant today.
Hold on. Anti-nuclear Mazu. Okay, I need to hear more about this.
So picture this,
Yeah.
a town on the coast of Taiwan. They hear there's going to be a nuclear power plant built nearby. They're freaking out, obviously.
So.
So they turn to Mazu. Right. The protector of the sea, their livelihoods. Makes sense. But get this. They build a whole new temple dedicated to anti-nuclear Mazu.
Wow.
And it becomes this center for protesting, for pushing back against the power plant.
Mazu as an activist. I love it.
Right. It was their way to make their voices heard, you know?
Right.
And it actually worked. Those protests, they actually helped get the power plant project paused.
No way.
It's a great example of how these deities, they're not just stuck in the past. They change with the people who worship them, reflecting what's going on in the world.
They're part of the story, not just characters in it.
Exactly. Beliefs, they're not just words in a book. They're alive, and they can really make a difference.
That is so cool. It makes you wonder, are there other anti-nuclear Mazus out there? Like other examples of this around the world in different cultures and their divine families and how they're all connected?
It's a great question. This paper focuses on China and Mazu. But those ideas, deities having different forms, families, rivalries, that's not just a Chinese thing. The Greek gods, the Norse gods.
It's like a soap opera up there.
Totally. But it makes you wonder, right? Maybe it's just how we, like humans, try to make sense of these huge, powerful beings.
By making them more like us?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Giving them families, relationships, problems. Makes them relatable, you know?
So we can connect with them better, find meaning in their stories. I like that. And it's not just like gods and stuff, right? This whole family tree thing, it's everywhere.
Oh, totally. We're always looking for those connections. Countries, their motherlands, fatherlands, even companies try to make it like you're part of a big work family.
Trying to fit in, belong to something bigger. It's kind of comforting in a way.
It is. It gives us a place, a story we're part of.
It's like those pilgrimages we were talking about. All those people going back to the Mother Temple, sharing stories, passing down traditions, each generation adding their own bit to it.
Creating something that lasts, that matters.
It's wild, right? We started talking about being surrounded by statues, and now we're talking about, like, the meaning of life, or at least how we find meaning in belief.
It's all connected, though, isn't it? Those little details, they can lead to big questions.
They really can. This whole deep dive has been incredible. Those visuals of the temple as a home, those temple family trees, even anti-nuclear Mazu. My brain's still spinning.
It really makes you think, huh?
Big time. I'm going to look at everything differently now. Temples, for sure. Heck, maybe even my own family.
That's what it's all about. Finding new ways to see the world.
And speaking of new ways of seeing things, that title, I know it's a mouthful, but it's got me thinking. Family, temple, Mazu, but also anthropological interpretation. What other parts of culture could we look at like this? Like, what other divine families are hiding in plain sight?
Now, there's a thought. There's a whole universe of connections out there just waiting to be explored. Keep your eyes open, and who knows what you'll find. Until next time.